Hi, welcome to another episode of the Jumping Podcast. I'm LoganSama. This is episode 10. That's right, we've done 10 of these things. I'm joined by Kim, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Long time.
What's going on in your utility cupboard? Exciting stuff.
It's clean. It's cleaner than it's ever been.
We can see that.
Let's do a podcast about it, and a separate one.
So I'm freshly back from Evo. You're freshly back from watching Evo on stream because you're a bum.
Yeah. Well,
but you were also recently in the People's Republic of China.
That I was.
Broadcasting the good word across VPN dial-up internet.
Supposedly, that's how it works. Have you ever been to the magical land?
I've been to Beijing. It's a very interesting place. The small children pissing and shitting in the street was very interesting, along with the old people that spit everywhere. That was pretty weird as well.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've heard stories, but nothing like that happened near me. I got denied a bunch. I got a bunch of taxi guys saying, "Yeah, we're gonna use the meter. Come on in." And then when you come in, they're like, "What? No. We want to overcharge you about 500%." Even though in US dollars, it's literally whatever, $8 for a taxi ride. It's just the principle, you know.
Yeah. But you were out there for the G League.
The G League.
Which is a premiere event, right?
Yes, it was.
And I was in Sweden for DreamHack, which was a premiere event, right?
Premier boys.
So yeah, we're now on the commentary trail. We've joined the team, but neither of us were working at Evo though, because they can't afford our dizzy day rates.
Yeah. Well, that's how life rolls. But maybe next year you'll be at the Mandalay Bay, or maybe what's that new arena they just built where they have the UFCs at?
Isn't it MGM Grand? It's normally the MGM Grand.
Maybe it's called the new MGM or something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah. How was that experience for you?
Evo was great. I had a great time there. I'd recommend it to anyone to go at least once if you haven't been. It was kind of weird, obviously, because I've been for these last 4 years I've been. And that's basically been the 4 years at which it's grown the most. So the difference from the first year I went to this year is crazy. And of course there was about 19,000 tickets sold,
just 19,000,
passes. So there was ups and downs with that. Obviously, getting space to accommodate that many people is kind of difficult in Vegas, especially at short notice. And I say short notice, I mean a year's notice.
Was there any empty seats in the arena? Because in the beginning,
yeah. So in the Mandalay Bay Arena, obviously, I was talking mainly about the convention hall for the Friday and Saturday, but Sunday was in the Mandalay Bay Arena, and I'm sure everyone's seen that now. It looked pretty amazing, but you definitely saw a lot of empty seats. And that was basically because whilst we are all part of the FGC, we are not all FGC fans. So once Melee's finished, the Smash Heads all made a mass exodus from the arena, and the 2D fighting game fans went inside the arena and watched Street Fighter V Top 8.
Well, let me just comment on that as a viewer, unfortunately. So I do believe when Smash was on, the numbers were hovering around 200,000. And then when they took that break, and during that break there was the jury announcement amongst other things. But the numbers at the end of the day on Twitch were, I think, at max 170,000 or so. I'm just trying to be optimistic, and I was saying, perhaps the other 30,000 or even more were tuning in on ESPN, and they didn't want to have 2 speakers on in their house or whatever.
Well, they had 200,000 watching on ESPN. So.
Oh really? Oh, those numbers were released.
That was official. 207,000 were the official viewing figures for ESPN. So I'm sure that definitely affected it. And of course, you had completely different broadcasts as well, because you had Sejam and James Chen on Twitch, and you had Mike Ross and Seth Killian on ESPN2. So a lot of people would have probably tuned in for Seth, because you only get to see him once a year, basically. So yeah,
he should stick his head out a little bit more, because a lot of people demand him.
Street Fighter on TV is is kind of a unique thing. So I'm sure a lot of people tune in to see that. I haven't actually seen the ESPN broadcast yet because I can't watch it on the playback. And someone sent me a link to watch it on YouTube, like an illegal upload on YouTube. I need to sit down and do that. But I've been catching up on my sleep and trying to fix my sleeping pattern because it's kind of a mess, as you can imagine.
Were you there also on work? Or is it
no,
holiday?
I was literally just there for Evo. So I flew in on the Thursday and I left on the Tuesday. Landed Wednesday morning. Went straight to Capcom UK and we did Winner Stays On sessions that night. And spent all of yesterday in bed, basically. And now I've got to go and do some work today. It's Friday morning here in the UK.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Let's try and hammer this out so you can get some rest and get your work done.
A lot of stuff to catch up on. So when last we spoke, what's happened since then? So DreamHacks happened, G League's happened.
CEO
CEO happened. Oh my God, so many premiere events.
Story mode was released.
Oh, this is a 7-hour show.
Just two characters, just Ibuki and Boxer. You know, they came out. You can't really tell from results though. Oh, actually,
and everyone's played Yuri and Urien as well. So
in story mode, but apparently they're not the same. Watch, they're going to be the same. They're going to be completely the same.
There'll be one frame of difference on the advantage on a blocked crouching medium kick or something.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Where are we going to start? CEO is pretty cool.
Let's see here. Let's start in. Let's be sequential about this then. DreamHack was before CEO.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it was.
All right, so DreamHack. Let's see here. The winner, the man from your land, Phenom. I am never sure which one it is.
Phenom.
But that's weird because he's
not the Undertaker.
Yeah. He's influenced by the pro wrestling, right? So he should be the Phenom.
No, I don't think he is.
Oh, no, he gave an interview about it on Capcom Fighters.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah. God knows. Who knows? But yeah, that was pretty cool. First ever winner of a premier event in all time from Europe. And I think that's the first winner since the Pro Tour started that was not from Asia. Is that correct? Or
you're obviously considering Street Fighter 4 as well, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the first year of Street Fighter 4.
Let's see here. Well, DreamHack, Daigo beat Gamer B with many walk-up uppercuts. I remember that.
That was historic, yeah.
Yeah,
that was the Gandhi year.
That was Zach Bennett was with us for a couple of minutes tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may be right. That is, this is a good thing though. You know, people are indeed rising up, and Phenom got a good amount of publicity during that tournament.
Dude, a lot of people kind of just saw the final and thought he scrubbed his way to a victory because he had some pretty unique methods of defense against Fudo, but he had to go past Daigo and Mago as well in that tournament. So yeah, definitely a legit win for him. And then he went on and finished 17th at Evo as well. So
it's not bad at all, man. Considering 5,000 people, he's not taking home any cash money, but he's taken home at least his best placing so far. I do know that he got far last year as well.
Yeah, he came 17th last year as well, which is his first ever Evo. So he's consistent at least. No. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, a lot's been made of 5,000 entrants, but I think it basically means you have to beat one more round of scrubs, pretty much.
Yeah, in all honesty, I heard the pools were extremely easy this year.
I mean, even I got to lose the semis in pools, so that shows you how easy the pools were.
Yeah, but that it's not a bad thing for sure. It's just that as a stream, if you're a hardcore Street Fighter fan and you want to see high level matches, just skip day one, and then day two you'll get to see some good matches.
That's definitely a problem. We can talk about that actually, because the format that we have at the moment, and of course they had at one point I think 3 streams with Street Fighter 5 on. But the format we have at the moment, it's pools on day one, which we know are going to be full of people that the general viewing public are not that interested in seeing. To get as much time as top 64 and top 32 the next day. And there were so many games that couldn't be run on stream I think we had Momotsi was eliminated off stream. What else was happening? Phenom didn't play on stream at all, actually.
He played once, I believe.
Did he play once?
Yeah, he played using his Necalli against another Necalli. Yeah.
All right.
He won, but then that was it. There's still a good fair amount of players that I don't know who they lost and don't know who they beat. Yeah, it's a lot.
So, just by the fact that restrictions of time, there was a lot of really good matches that happened off stream. And because there was no capture setups at all as well, which is kind of weird because we're all using these Zowie BenQ monitors that have got HDMI outs now.
Right.
There's no reason you couldn't be, capturing stuff in top 32 as well that happened off stream. And the rest of the world could see it later on demand on the YouTube channel, which would, of course, generate more revenue for Evo and be good for everybody.
Wasn't it Arturo last year that was actually running around with his own
Arturo and me were actually wandering around because I gave him a load of videos as well that I shot on my phone. So I'm on my iPhone and Arturo had a monopod and a little sort of handy cam, just capturing stuff. And what year was it that Daigo lost to John Choi? Was that 2014 or 50?
That was 2 years ago because I was actually there.
And now, again, that happened off stream. No one saw that. But that video on YouTube got more views than the grand final. Huge amounts of views for someone that randomly uploaded it. So,
thank God there was someone there.
I know there are a lot of people that were like periscoping as well off their phones. Kayane from France was periscoping a lot of the European stuff. So I definitely think that needs to get looked at. There's a lot of top players. There's a lot of great matches that people want to see. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. Hit up Elgato or LGP. Who's that? That's who makes the LGP? It begins with an A, and they sponsored Ava Media. That's the one. Hit up one of those two companies, and I'm sure they'll happily give you capture cards, and you can just leave them running all day and upload stuff post tournament. More content for people to watch.
Well, there's one thing that's connected to this, and it's I'm sure you've heard about the judges, and in the past there was always judges that DQ'd people a little bit too quickly, but this time I've heard of a good fair number of stories about judges with pretty much not doing their job correctly, and I do believe that if they can't judge the brackets all that well, them being able to look after another capture card or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. We have to do is just leave it running. That's what we have to do. Just plug it in and leave it running.
Someone's going to steal it. This has nothing to do with FGC.
No one's stealing consoles. No, those things are laying around. They're easy to steal as well. Just have someone on there. Someone's going to steal it. They're donated anyway. Whatever it is, what it is. But I definitely think it needs to be looked at. In terms of the judging, actually, you talk about DQs and stuff. This year, I thought they were really good with DQs. The judges were instructed, because I saw a lot of the instructions, the judges were instructed to play brackets as far as they could, possibly, before DQing anybody. So they gave people the most chance to show up and what have you. I know there are a few communication errors in terms of players being told the wrong times and the wrong pools by judges, which is obviously it needs to be looked at and is unacceptable. And also, when they got to top 64, they were told there were no DQs at all. I definitely saw that, no DQs at all at top 64, and I heard it announced as well. So that was good. I know they had problems with some of the other games. I know Smash 4, they had some issues with that. I know some of the Mortal Kombat guys weren't happy as well about their scheduling. But these are all growing pains that you're going to have to deal with when you're stepping up to the scale that they're stepping up to. And I think this has probably shown the Evo guys that they need to communicate as much as possible with the communities of the respective games that they're running. Yeah.
I mean, there's not much more to say on that. I mean, I wish we can have. We don't really need 3 streams for one game. In all honesty, I think the format of the tournament, even though it was ran on time, which is obviously their main goal, and they definitely accomplished that. I mean, in the past Evos, it was pretty bad. There was the notorious UCLA one where they changed the grand finals rule. I you weren't there. A lot of people listening
I
to
was
us weren't there. But, yeah, but anyway, nothing like that happened, so that's good. But it's just that it's kind of why are pools up to qualification ran on one day, and then another set of pools on the other day? How about we just get that all done on one day, and then the next day we'll have much high quality matches or something? Because it felt like day one and day two, except for like the very end of day two where you could see some really good matches. It felt like they were kind of the same in terms of like they were basically just on in the background when I was doing other things. I wasn't really watching it all that much, you know.
And again, you
obviously
end up with
enthralled
that
in
problem
everything.
of bottlenecking, and you lose a lot of the quality matches that you want to watch
Yeah.
towards the later stages of the tournament, and a lot of matches that you don't necessarily want to watch at the start of the tournament.
I do believe that the brackets weren't also updated online. A lot of it was just
No, they're still running on paper, and I saw an interesting post by I think it was Tony from the Cannons, who was talking about how they want to update next year and move on from paper brackets. But I think their reasoning was the fact that as they step up in scale this year, they have a history with using paper brackets. They know paper brackets can't fail. The software isn't going to break on the paper brackets, or the internet's not going to go down on the paper brackets. So they're stuck with that for this year, so that they didn't have any disasters. But I know they're looking next year at implementing sort of like a mobile-based thing. I know there's loads of people out there as well. Smash.gg is great. Challenge is great, of course, as well. I don't know if it would hold 5,000 man bracket, but we'll see.
I haven't screwed around with the Smash website lately, but the challenge website, I do know that if you want to give someone access to changing like to say that this guy won and whatever, and have him progress through the tournament, you have to kind of assign these rights to each individual person. And since as you know, like a judge is pretty much decided not on the it could be on the day of, but it's a lot more preparation would have to be done, which is very realistic. It's not like it's out of this world to think that would happen. But I do think that has something to do with using paper brackets. They're used to it, and as long as you're still able to read throughout the entire tournament, you'll be able to run it,
I know it's definitely something I want to look at, though, because obviously the viewing public, you have to cater more and more and more to the viewing public in this day and age. But I think their main focus, as they stepped up the scale and the size of this event, was to make sure that the people in attendance had a good experience. And I think for the most part they did.
When was the last Evo that you didn't go to and was watching online?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
So during that time,
that was Xian's one, right? I think that was when Xian won.
During that time, Challenge was still up, right? I guess they were for sure. They were still using paper brackets.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So DreamHack, CEO.
So yeah, DreamHack was really interesting. Ryan Hart actually did really well at DreamHack. He beat Momochi and should have beat Daigo.
What did he get that tournament?
I think he ended up finishing 9th. I think he was 9th. Yeah, he beat Momochi in winner's bracket. He had a horrible bracket. He beat Momochi in winner's bracket, then he had to play Daigo, and he ended up, after being on set point against Daigo, he lost to Daigo.
Well, considering his competition there in Germany, now that he lives there.
I mean, he's definitely not able to get a lot of offline competition. There isn't a tremendous offline scene in Germany at the moment. They've got a few events, a few good players, talented players. I was in Evo with one of those, Halibel, who's a really good Ken.
He has a stream too. I've seen his stream.
He does stream, yeah. MDZ Jimmy as well, I think, is another guy from that area. But yeah, I know he's finding that very frustrating at the moment, not getting that sort of offline practice that he's used to being in the London scene, which has got so much stuff going on.
He also tweeted about not entering Tekken 7 because Europe has no access to the game.
Yeah, we've never had any of that. Although he could probably still go and get like top 32 with.
Yeah, and he's like an OG Tekken head too, so
yeah.
That must have hurt.
Tekken Tag 2, I think it was.
Yeah. That's the tournament where he went out to Alicia Keys and started dancing towards the ring or towards the stage. I was like, I like this guy, Brian Hart.
Good man. So yeah, we had Phenom win, Fudo, Tokido came third, Hayatani fourth, and that was kind of like Hayatani's last high placing recently. He's kind of not done tremendously well since then.
Just a couple tournaments passed, but I predicted him to do very well at Evo. He lost to Mago. That match is online for sure. It's on a random potato camera though, but
yeah.
And I don't know who he lost to after that or before that. I'm telling you, man, in this game, sometimes you just lose, man. It's like
I think it was team kills, man. I think it was like another Japanese team kill. A lot of those guys. I mean, there's a lot of them there. I mean, aside from America, Japan was the highest represented country at Evo. So there's a lot of players there.
I don't know what happened to PR Rog at all. I don't know what happened to K-Brad.
Well, PR had that great moment against Bonchan, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was on stream, so that's how we know, right?
Yeah. Like the rest. After, who knows?
I know Ricky beat Mago. I'll be honest, I'm a bit surprised about that, but good job on Ricky.
Ricky gets a lot of practice in that matchup, I'd assume, against Justin. So.
Yeah, so I mean, Mago's kind of on the come up right now in Street Fighter V. He's not like he's a new player, obviously, but he's been getting better results, much more in Street Fighter V than he was in 4. In 4, he was always like barely 8th place or something like that. He got first like twice in like several years. This year, he at least got his first major within the first year, right? So
yeah.
So I mean, the next tournament I do believe after DreamHack was CEO. That's the one where Kenny Omega versus Xavier Woods.
Yeah, the
first
the
to 5.
Great worked first to 5.
Worked? What?
It's a work. It's a work.
What? I don't believe it. He's not used. He's definitely not used to that.
Still the real to me, damn it. Yeah, that was great though. Really awesome. I think CEO and Combo Breaker before it were like real, benchmarks on community run events.
CEO is beating most, like 95% of the tournaments out there. Like I beat myself over the head with a stick. I don't know why it's a stick, but every time I watch CEO, because I'm like, I always tell myself to go to that tournament. You know, like I go to SEAM, I go to Evo. You know, but CEO should be up there. I mean, it should be right below Evo, only because it's not Vegas.
It definitely is. It's one of those that's right below Evo. And for me, I'm definitely going to make the time to go there next year. But it was kind of like you kind of go to Evo or CEO. If you're not in America, you kind of go to Evo or CEO.
Sure.
Unless you're sponsored, because obviously traveling is really expensive. And Evo kind of wins out. It's probably a few $100 more, but you've got that whole prestige of Evo there, which is kind of unfair, I think, to CEO because it's been a great spectacle for like the last 3 years. You know, like it's really been up there every year. It's a great experience, and it looks like incredible fun to be at. So, yeah, hopefully next year. And the cool thing is as well is a lot of these guys are talking to us about me and F-Word going out there and doing work. And unfortunately this year for CEO, me and Femi were both busy, both pre-booked, doing other stuff.
Was F-Word at Evo?
F-Word wasn't at Evo. He was on holiday with his family. His wife. He actually got an inquiry about working at Evo. And he told his wife, and his wife unfortunately said, fortunately said, you can't go to Evo. I've booked you this holiday as a surprise for your birthday. So he's actually in Thailand right now.
We'll let it pass. All right. Yeah. How dare he love his wife?
Exactly. And in terms of CEO, I was working, and he couldn't get the time off work because he works in a really competitive industry, and he had targets to hit. It was like really important time for him at work, so couldn't get the time off, unfortunately. So we weren't at CEO, but hopefully next year. But it's really heartening that we're getting asked all the time about events, and like all the top players come up to us. People that I don't know at all, and have no reason to just be kind. Like they're just giving us genuine support.
I think it's safe to say that you are in the higher ranks of the commentary duels now, and people will contact you at Winner Stays On. and at F_W0RD.
Indeed, and of course they can find you at your really difficult to work out.
Oh, it's easy. Just put Kim1234 Twitter on Google and you'll find it. Can you spell Kim? It's easy, right? Kim1234 Google. You've used it before, unless you're in China. Then you.
So talking about your commentary, let's talk about G League.
Ooh. Well, apparently there were some issues on the final day, but the first 2 days, yes, it was a 3-day tournament already. So, yeah, G League in Shanghai, 2016, promo code G League 2016. I've said that so many times. Yeah, it was a good experience. I met a lot of the Chinese top players over there. They're really friggin' good. They're really good at this game, and you can tell they love this game too. After every,
so how are they able to play? How are they able to play? Because like, can you buy PlayStation 4s in China? Like, are you allowed to do? I know there was a thing about.
I assume so.
You weren't allowed to buy consoles for the longest time in China. I know you couldn't buy an Xbox 360, for example. You couldn't do it. You had to go to a very specific place and could only buy them at a certain time of the year. It was really weird, which is why PC gaming is fucking huge in China. Absolutely enormous.
Well, the only thing I could comment about that was that they have arcades. They have arcades. So after it was a 3-day event, right? So after each day ended, everyone would go to this arcade and they would have another tournament.
Yeah.
They would have it's funny because on day 2 they had the top 8 of that previous tournament. So they obviously did this on purpose to stretch it out. So I mean, they have arcades there. And I do know King of Fighters obviously is really big there, so they have arcades for sure. And if they're playing Street Fighter V, they are allowed to have consoles over there too. So that's the only thing I could comment on. I didn't see any PS4s being on sale or anything. It was a gaming and anime or cartoon convention.
They're allowed anime in China?
Yeah, why not? I don't know. They called it the game and cartoon convention or something like that. So
is it like Japanese anime or was it like state controlled?
It's a straight up anime convention basically. Like everyone's doing cosplay and everything. So
wow, yeah, it's amazing what money does.
I want to find out about that PS4 thing. That's quite intriguing. I want to know
I know for a fact when the 360 was in its heyday, you couldn't buy one in China, even though they're all made there, which is kind of weird. But I think they loosened it up. I remember reading something about it happening like a year and a half ago or something like that.
So the first 2 days I've heard were very good, pretty good actually. But the third day, most of the people didn't get to see the top 8. They saw maybe like the first match of top 8, and then they weren't.
I tried to watch top 8, and I think I saw like 3 seconds at a time, followed by. The weird thing was that the audio was fine. So the audio was fine. Yeah. And then like it was just like stop motion. I got like it's like updates on Twitter of screen grabs of what was going on. So it was a shame, and I think people missed out a lot.
Well, I mean,
an interesting story in the end, with the local hero Shanghai taking the event, defending from the invaders. You could have written it better.
Yeah, Cian, the outsider, using the new character. Almost not taking anything. Yeah. I mean, his every time I meet Cian, he always talks about how his character is not bad, and it almost feels like he's trying to convince himself or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe him. I don't think Feng's a bad character at all, and I do see that he's like
a bad character in this game. I don't think anyone's a bad character in this game.
I mean, there's bad matchups. You can't avoid that in fighting games, but he's not a bad character because he does beat a lot of characters, or he does compete with a lot of characters,
Yeah, I think you can compete with pretty much anyone in this game. I think it's hard. I think it's very hard for Bison and very hard for Rashid in some situations, but you can definitely compete in this game. And Fang doesn't do enough damage, and Bison needs a 3-frame normal, and then we're okay, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can tweak and see how it works, but
yeah.
I think it's pretty simple if you really think about it. Like, why are good characters good in this game?
Yeah.
Why are they good?
Why do some characters have 3-frame anti-air normals and a DP in this game? Yet Bison has none at all. I don't understand that. It makes no sense.
I've already beaten this issue over, so I don't really need to. I don't want to talk about it anymore, to be honest. I'm on the Cammy train. I'm on the Nash train right now.
I'll poke you about Bison. more.
Don't worry, people do that to me all the time. I think they want a reaction out of me now. I'm not gonna give it to them.
I think give him a 3-frame light kick, an anti-air jab, and he's back in the game.
And anti-air jab, then that's interesting. But you do know his 22-frame dash. You know, you can't do the normal thing where you jab and you dash the other side. Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah, but you can do it in V-trigger anyway. Normally, just
so just anti-air jab and then cancel the V-trigger and then get the frame mix up. I see.
I'd be interested if he could do jab into V-trigger activate and then combo from that. That would be cool.
Like jump strong or something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's live in reality. Okay, Logan. because I am not gonna pick up Bison until I figure out that character.
Into this fantasy land, the Bison's viable at high level play.
And Venom definitely won DreamHack with just Bison.
He did have to bring out Bison to beat Daigo and Mago.
I wonder if he gave any interviews about that, because I know that
into the grand finals. So.
I do know his thinking and his logic behind it, but I don't know if he has made it public yet.
Behind the Switch.
Yeah, behind the Switch, exactly.
Yeah, it was like unfamiliarity. That's literally all it was.
No, he said like fuck.
Their unfamiliarity and his familiarity. He told us on the day that he just felt more comfortable at the time using Bison.
I mean, if you watch that match, I mean, obviously I played Ryu Bison a bunch. Daigo, he just didn't remember what to do for that round. There's a lot of mistakes done on both parties. Venom, he did exactly what he had to do. He had to run his usual game, and it was up to Daigo to adapt. And Daigo picked the wrong counters.
Yeah,
a lot of the time. Yeah, but yeah, congrats to him. And Bison scored his last major ever. That's gonna be his last one, okay? But I do remember a friendly wager you and I made of after Marn. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember this now?
No, go on. What is it?
After Marn did really well with Mika, you said like Mika's never ever gonna win a CPT.
She hasn't though.
She hasn't. I know, but she almost did several times.
She hasn't.
Oh, wait, it's not done yet. We have until December. We have until December.
Fudo, man. 3 times.
Second.
3 times. I can't remember if the first time he was in winners, but he's lost from winners final twice now.
Stunfest, right? And then
was he? It's a DreamHack.
Well, I mean, it was 3 times, right? So it was definitely Stunfest because he lost to Momochi.
Stunfest, he was in, Momochi brought it back out of losers.
Yeah. And then he was in winners at Evo, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he was coming from losers, I believe. Yeah, but that's the new thing. That's the new cool thing, you know? Like, get second a bunch, and then you win the big one.
Yeah.
Tokido did it. Bonchan didn't do it.
Right?
Yeah. Fun times. I'm sure he's not frustrated at all. How could you be? Second place prize money, man. It's free.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing your hobby, you know?
What did you think about the fact that it was a grand finals at Evo, biggest stage in the world, biggest viewing audience in the history of this game, TV audience across the United States, huge potential market.
Mm-hmm.
Razor versus Razor in grand finals, Fudo versus Infiltration, and they're both using Mad Cat sticks.
Well, I haven't watched the full ESPN broadcast yet, but I'm pretty sure they didn't mention that part. Only we would know that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, but you know, like I definitely, because it was last Evo, right? The big malfunctions and all that sort of thing that was happening with the Aatrox. You'd think within a year they'd get a prototype up and running that would work, you know?
or at least slap a label on it or something, you know.
Yeah, or change the artwork, something, you know. It's kind of weird. It was kind of weird. Kind of makes me feel like they might have given up on the peripherals market if they've not been bothered.
It has been a while since the announcement, so it's quite possible that's the case. But one cool thing that I will mention was I do find it very fitting. Not fitting, that's not the right word. But I found it really awesome that Fudo was the first one to walk out in the fucking big ass Mandalay Bay entrance. Like
Yeah.
that made me smile so hard because I've been talking about entrances for a long time. It almost feels like they like purposely have been holding us back from that kind of thing so they can like just unleash it and we were like, oh, thank you, Eva, you did us right. Yeah, but when Fudo walked out, like I don't know, something about like the way he walked out and he was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, yeah." That's his English voice to me. Like there's something about there was just something right. It was a good debut, you know. Like there could have been a lot of situations
You
like
could definitely see which people were comfortable and which ones were. To be honest with you, Fudo didn't really look that comfortable to me. MOV looked like a badass motherfucker.
he was about to kill someone.
MOV looked cool as shit.
That's your boy right there.
And of course, Li Joe, big hometown hero walkout.
Oh,
that was incredible, man.
It was an emotional moment for us all.
Well, not for me, because
I mean, I got the red, white, and blue, you know, right here, baby. You know, I felt it.
underneath the yellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, what a story. And I think it really helped the broadcast as well because it gave the viewers something to relate to a lot more than a bunch of Asian faces on the screen.
Sure.
You know, not being ignorant, but that's kind of like how I'm sure a lot of the ESPN viewers were. Mm-hmm. It definitely helped having an American there to kind of build the story around, and it was great for everybody.
It's good that he got past first round so that they can have they have all this footage. Not first round, but you know, whatever, top 8.
Yeah, the first match, the beating Aita.
Yeah, I mean, like the hug with the dad and him and the dad with the same pose. Like, I mean, if he didn't win, none of that would exist. You know, it's good stuff.
It's great result as well, and I think you know, everyone talks about what a nice guy Li Joe is, and I think that's kind of like by the by. You know, that's I want to talk about like how well he played because. For me, his scramble was fucking godlike, and I think that's one of the most important aspects of Street Fighter V. How you deal and how you react in that split-second scramble, especially when you've got a character that's got no 3-frame buttons and no reversal. So he had to make good decisions continually to beat a fucking random as shit Ken that will do anything at any given moment. You know, there was a story going around about Aita in brackets. He did wake up DP super. And the guy blocked it and punished him and obviously got the knockdown off the combo. And then after that, he'd wake up DPV trigger immediately straight away because why the fuck not?
Momochi did the same thing at Stunfest, if you recall. He did the same exact thing. One after another. I don't know if the super came first or whatever, but he did the same thing. And I was like, okay. You should have been there, I guess. You know?